Hi guys, my name is Mircea and today we're gonna talk to one of the co-founders of Celonis, Bastian Nominacher. What's very interesting about the story behind Celonis is that it was actually built by 3 students. And they managed quite nicely to build it up to more than 600 employees, and actually recently it became one of the unicorns from Germany. What Celonis does is they use a so-called process mining technology to optimize business processes across the value chain of an organization. So they take a lot of data, they analyze it, and they help improving these processes in a big company. So basically for anyone who wants to build a company, to start from scratch, it would be very insightful to hear Bastian's vision about creating new companies. So I hope you can learn something from Bastian's lessons and from his experiences, and I hope you enjoy the video.
I think as an entrepreneur, you always face challenges. I was quite lucky. I founded a company called Celonis doing process mining, and I met my 2 co-founders, Martin and Alex, during our studies doing a part-time project at a student-run consultancy called Academy Consult. Mm-hmm. And while we were doing these projects, we stumbled upon the process mining idea. And then at that point, basically, there was no good technology available to really analyze the process data in the IT systems. But we figured that the traditional methods like process modeling, interviews simply don't yield the desired results. And we know from our research that there was first papers available from Professor Will van der Aalst from TU Eindhoven, who wanted to apply that. And it was absolutely amazing. We then saw how the customers have been using that, how they got totally excited and got great outcomes of viewing at the different process views. Yeah. And this was the starting point. So I was lucky that my studies more or less helped me to find my co-founders. And I'm also active as a business angel, but I see very often the university is a very fertile ground to meet like-minded people who also open to found a company. So I think if you plan to found something, you are university mates are a really good source for co-founders.
What do you think there are important skills nowadays for students?
When I just look back at my education, I really benefited from getting a very broad foundation in many core subjects like computer systems, how does a CPU work, how does memory work, how do you program, but also on a business perspective. I studied a mixture between computer science and management. It was a very good foundation for my job. I would say in general, try to get a really broad grounding so that you have a good overview, but also take something which is really intellectually challenging, because this is probably the best you learn at university, really solving complex problems. At Celonis, we have probably 100 to 200 math and physics graduates, and that's their key skill. And I think that's very valuable.
Yeah, that's also one of the other questions. Do you think entrepreneurs actually need technical skills to succeed?
Yeah, and this is what my answer was generally regarding students. I think for an entrepreneur, it's very, very an entrepreneur should rather aim to have a very broad foundation. It's good if there's anything regarding business planning, things like that, but I think there is not a magic recipe to become an entrepreneur. I would just try to become a broad foundation. It's good to have some business knowledge. It's absolutely crucial to know also technology, because it's the biggest enabler and disruptor of most industries. Yeah. I think the key thing is really having this ambition to really excel. We look always for people who are really driven, that they come out with the best outcome, that they are passionate. If they work with a customer, they don't want to make the customer happy, they want to make them awesome happy. If they have a technical problem, they want to come up with the best possible solution, and in any different areas. I think that makes them successful. We are typically, when hiring people for Celonis, look for 4 dimensions. The personal fit just needs to be fun to work together. The professional skills, we need to have Champions League players on every position. Passion for our technology. They need to believe in Celonis and the superfluid enterprise with the process mining as our core technology. Lastly, there's meant to be a match of the vision of the candidate and Celonis, because this is a long-term project, and if after 1 year down the road you discover that there's misalignment, that's obviously a pity for both sides.
Yeah, completely agree. How was the transition from being a student to being an entrepreneur?
It's different. Like as an entrepreneur, you really need to make things happen. As a student, like it's mostly like you work towards a good grade, having fun. As an entrepreneur, you have a lot of responsibility. You can also create a lot of things. So I really enjoyed both tasks, but they are completely different. I think what is similar, it's always intellectually stimulating, especially if you work in the field of technology.
Mm-hmm. If you were still a student at the moment, is there any particular industry that you would find more interesting in which you would like to get involved?
I think the technology industry, so software service is absolutely fascinating. You can create so many different things. But if I would like have even more say like natural science background, there's also in bio and pharma research, they're doing amazing things. So I think just being curious, there's so much potential and areas out there. I think with the rise of the technology, so many new things get unlocked. And if you're young and have the potential, this is your opportunity to find something unique which creates value and bring it out to the world. If you go broader, like in the case of Celonis, it was really an advantage for us that we have a technology which goes across 20 different industries. Mm-hmm. So we have a broad and even more, like a very large addressable market, which makes it highly attractive in the long term because you can build a very large company. But initially it's also more difficult because selling in every industry is different. The customers have different problems. So it's always a balancing act. I would always go for the bigger opportunity, but you have to make sure that you don't lose focus. So there's in founding and running a company, there's no black and white. You need to every day recalibrate and make sure that you go to the best outcome.
Mm-hmm. So you would say that it's important to have a big market?
Having a big addressable market is obviously very important. Because if your market is not big, it determines in the end how big the opportunities that you're working towards.
Completely agree. But then in the beginning, out of 20 industries that you could focus on, would you choose one or two? And then go for more after you nail the first ones?
I would always depend how much you can handle in parallel. If you find a way to go broad initially, but also have the right level of success, we, for example, set out for us the goal to double each year, then I would go broad. But if you feel that it drags too much of your attention, then you need to naturally narrow down. It's always a calibration. How many new regions do you start? How many new people do you onboard? It's always a trade-off between having currently the right type of efficiency and the long-term potential. As an entrepreneur, there is no right or wrong. You need to every day calibrate what might be good, like last year, might now be too slow or too fast.
Yeah. Okay. Would you say that success is measured in money, or how would you sort of measure success?
There are many different metrics for success. Money is by far not the only one. Mm-hmm. Obviously, for example, revenue is an approximation of the trust by your customers, how important you are to them. Mm-hmm. Often revenue is obviously a very good proxy in an economic setting because people simply won't give you money if it's worth less or if you don't create something meaningful for them.
Yeah, and in terms of personal success, not necessarily the company success?
Yeah, I think a personal success, it's the same. There can be different values. So like, for example, what I really enjoy seeing all the people going into Celonis, how they learn and develop over time, how they start maybe in a role as an individual solution engineer, and after a few years become like a leader of our entire European organization, how they really take up the opportunity, how you change like an entire company works, and or how like coming to a country like after 2 years after we started and they have a total ecosystem, they have an own association, they meet every quarter 100 people, you really change people's life. I think this is really what makes it fulfilling to me.
Mm-hmm. Is there any specific advice that you would share to students that we didn't come across at the moment?
Yeah, I think in the end, just be brave. Like you have a good education, like the market is hot. I think there's also like the barriers have come down with technology. Everyone can found a company, just need a computer and find something. Be also critical. Try to like use your time at university to get a great education, meet like-minded people, find a co-founder team, and then get started. But it's not the end of the world if you don't found a company. This is one potential way to do, but you can also very nicely work in a company, work also in a startup, get an experience there. I think what they need to realize is this is a time of opportunity. They can learn a lot and they have also a lot of choices they can make, and it's up on them to get the most out of that.